It's a pleasure to have you here.
And I'm happy to be back on Digitalk after about 2 years plus.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to meet a colleague deputy.
A fellow deputy.
Yes.
Well, the discussion tonight is that security personnel, as the UPDF, you have a role, you have a duty to play. And he has been explaining it, he is a lawyer, where this mandate comes from. The Constitution of Uganda, we also have the UPDF Act, and all these are guiding documents.
And so many other acts.
And so many other acts within the security line that give you the mandate to execute what you're supposed to execute. But we have failed to understand what is the problem, especially when it comes to politicians and security. Here we have a big problem. And I am happy that just 2 years back, we've been in an election. Maybe we can take, right from here, we can initiate this conversation and create a very bigger difference ahead of the next elections, if God gives us more life to get there. So we need to know, where does the collusions normally come from? When you're trying to do what is mandated to you by the Constitution, and when they also try to do what they believe is their right.
Thank you very much, moderator. There are two words that I usually use, and I guess is the whole problem. It's the whole center of all problems that we meet when we come in to quell certain activities that may raise insecurity. Because we never come in when there is a sense that there is something of insecurity nature going to happen or about to happen or is happening. When I link it to politics, I'll use two words. One is manipulation, another one is populism.
From who?
I'm still coming. The two words of manipulation and populism are becoming a very huge problem in as far as the politics of this country and security is concerned. It has been, I will use an example. I was talking about this recently, whereby we find our politicians, simply he wants to be popular, because that's when he will get a vote, according to some of the thinking.
Regardless of what he goes through.
That's true. We have had situations where some politicians abduct themselves. This is not news. We have had situations where politicians create certain conditions which are not there. And we have, fortunately, because of this digital era, thanks we are on digital talk, these things sometimes come out, and they present a politician. This is a politician who was presenting himself in this way, and a few hours is this way. There is politics in this country somehow, I'm sorry to say, it has turned into comedy. Sorry, with all due respect to my leaders in the political circles. Not every politician acts comedy, but we have had some politicians who act comedy. And for us in the security, we may not sense that it is comedy until we have proved that it is actually comedy. And on my side, it is very, very difficult. For the police, probably they may have time to prove that it is comedy or not. It's not much of our role. Whenever we are called in as the military to set a situation, we are sure that this situation has gone a notch higher than what the police can handle. Because we can only come in to handle a situation when we have been called upon by police to handle, as provided for in the Constitution and in other laws. I may not be an expert of law. He's an expert of law. And he was quite sensitive when he said sometimes we come in when actually we don't know the law. I will talk about the UPDF. We have a whole chieftaincy. Chieftaincy is a huge department within the UPDF which has directorates. And we have a chieftaincy of legal services.
Okay.
And I'm very sure my colleague deputy here should be knowing who heads that chieftaincy. Is none other than a professor of law who could have taught many of them, called Professor Brigadier General, Major General Godard Businje.
Yep.
I'm very sure he's very renowned lawyer. And under him with a lot of other lawyers, professionals who handle different issues. However, sometimes because of political interests, I have seen, and I think it is a conduct of the lawyers, whoever twists things a bit in a smarter way takes the day. So you'll find some learned friends trying to twist things around to their way. Whoever takes that takes the day.
So when you find
and this is now exactly when it comes to a politician who is also a lawyer, oh, he plays smart or she plays smart. And for us, the priority may not be about how to play around with the law. It's about to ensure that there is security. The playing around, General Godard and his team will do that. The playing around, the police will handle that. But for us, first priority is security.
You see, I always have issues sometimes. I want to understand that the army goes through a very different training compared to the Uganda police. And the mandate is also different. Police falls under the internal affairs. The army falls under a different ministry. And now there comes a time when we need the two forces to merge. Whose mandate do we execute now in that time?
First priority mandate is the mandate of the Uganda police. However, in the Constitution, Article 209, which talks about the functions of the UPDF, it gives us the mandate to come in and help civil authority. So we come in under that mandate to help. That's why from the beginning I told you we only come in when we are invited by the police to do that. It's not only about security issues. We also come in other areas. You have seen us in Bududa. You have seen us in Kasese when floods happen. All of these are within this article.
Well, yeah, I have the article here. I can read it for,
Yes.
for our viewers. Article 209. The functions of the Uganda People's Defense Forces are A, to preserve and defend the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Uganda. B, to cooperate with the civilian authority in emergency situations and in cases of natural disasters. C, to foster harmony and understanding between the defense forces and civilians. Then to engage in productive activities for the development of Uganda. So I want to believe
So
that you realize the
clause
mandate,
B and C, I think.
Clause B, to cooperate with the civilian authority in emergency situations and in cases of natural. You see, we are not framers of the law, but my biggest concern here is that someone who goes through a vigorous training compared to the Uganda police, which is mandated to handle the civilians, now it is again the UPDF coming in to harmonize this, to link between the civilians and, it's really hard to understand.
No, I said this, the police can only call us it when it sees that the situation can easily go beyond their capacity.
Okay.
And this explains our training being a little bit different. And that's why in most cases, when we come in, I have seen situations in around Zikusooka, around areas of Nabugabo, where police comes in and the rioters are throwing stones and actually confronting. And when they see 2-3 military police trucks, everybody disperses.
They withdraw.
Without even shooting a bullet or what, for us we call it shock action. And they disperse. You can see we have not acted, but our presence alone tells the rioter that the situation has changed. And therefore, that explains our training vis-a-vis the training of police. Because in most cases,
explains what you portray.
In most cases, what we portray to the public is they know our mandate is to handle people who will handle rebels, will handle people who are against the state, and we don't use kids' gloves. However, this is not a situation which we would have loved to see. Personally, I have been into this for long. I don't like a situation. I would prefer to sit and monitor what police is doing. If it successfully does it, I will be the happiest. Because I know when our boys come in, their training being different, there can be an error. And these errors have happened.
So
one, because of the army is not for provocation. Because you provoke us, we come in full swing. Ours is to make sure we subdue you. And this wouldn't have been the situation. But if you act in a way that is beyond the police capacity, and you feel like you have the power to subdue the police, then an extra power comes in to subdue you.
Colonel, before I switch to this gentleman here, we've seen situations where even before an event takes place, and early in the morning there is maybe
prevention is better than cure.
And then we see the army full swing, the police, what brings that?
The police
already detects that,
or security agencies. Actually, there is a very good statement that actually I can arrest you.
Preventive arrest.
If I detect that you are about to commit a crime. I think there is that kind of,
yes,
I don't know whether it is in the law, but it is exactly. And we have seen this. Now, if we have seen a situation, even the police can actually detect that and say
that we will not handle this.
That this one is likely to go beyond us, and the military will deploy.
Well, thank you so much. That's Colonel Deo Akiiki. He's the Deputy Spokesperson of the UPDF. Congratulations. Just of recently, you also got back into that office. This man was appointed yesterday.
Wow, thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations too.
So, Bwana Zikusooka, we need to see that there is harmony between the security personnel and other politicians. Because at the end of it all, you need their protection. They have a duty to protect you, to secure you. Do you really realize that these gentlemen have a duty?
I would like to thank the Deputy Spokesperson of the UPDF, given his submission. But, and like I had ended, that most of them are ignorant of the law, verbatim.
Some of them.
And in his submission, he has ably made it clear that it is only a section of their chieftain.
Chieftains of legal department.
Yes.
Don't misquote him. They have a role. They are not just there to be alone. They have a role to teach everybody, and which they do.
And
twisting.
And he has ably put it like that. And from a point where he said that I don't know if it is in the law, that one confirms my statement. I don't know where he was talking about. You can be arrested when you are about to commit a crime, or they think, or it is a thought that you are going to commit a crime. And this is the problem we have. This is the problem we have, and it has caused security agencies.
Which is the problem? Which problem are you talking about?
The problem is that the law has not defined a person, because
should we all of us be lawyers?
The Deputy Spokesperson can arrest you now. If he looks at you and he thinks you're going to ask a dangerous question,
if he's a soldier, unless some police, if he's a soldier,
he can say now, this one is about to commit a crime.
By asking,
yes, he can say, please shut up, shut down the show, and I'm taking this gentleman away because I believe I have reasonable suspicion that he's about to commit a crime. He's about to slap Zikusooka. So now that is the problem with the law. That is the problem with the law, giving unexplained parameters. But I think case law has helped us explain this. But still again, when my brother Akiiki explains the functions, it is very significant to understand the article prior to Article 209 and read 208.
Let's read 208.
I think you can read 208 too.
Uganda People's Defense Forces, that is Article 208. There shall be armed forces to be known as the Uganda People's Defense Forces.
Where we belong.
Can I go to 2?
Thank you.
The Uganda People's Defense Forces shall be non-partisan.
The Uganda People's Defense Forces shall be
Non-partisan.
National in character.
national in character,
Patriotic.
patriotic,
Professional.
professional,
Disciplined.
disciplined,
Productive.
productive.
And subordinate to the civilian authority
What is
as
that word?
established under this constitution.
And
Submissive to the civilian authority.
subordinate.
Subordinate to the civilian authority.
And subordinate.
To the civilian authority
But the
as established under this constitution.
the deputy spokesperson's way of speech here is not at any one time being
Subordinate.
subordinate
How? Explain to the
To
listeners,
the-
viewers.
to the civilian authorities. And we need to explain.
I think you need to share light on that.
Yes, we need
we-
to.
So that
we are
maybe
handling-
either you help him understand
We were handling.
my
yes, or
issue.
he comes up.
We were handling our relationship with the police, which
Yes.
is a civil authority.
Yes.
We
Are you in contradiction of that?
No.
Yes, if we are handling another one of subordination to the civilian,
That is now.
My issue is
then we
now.
shall.
My issue is now establishing what civilian authority means.
Article 209 talked about some sort of harmonizing.
What is harmony? We are talking about the UPDF, and actually, it is the same question. It is the same. It is the same provision when you come to I think it is 211 2.
You see, moderator.
Yes, sir.
We are here not on a legal debate. That's why, first of all,
You
I
put a
recognize,
disclaimer.
although I put a disclaimer, which he wanted to take advantage of.
No, I'm not taking
In a wrong
advantage of
way.
it. But I'm trying
You
to.
see,
I'm trying to
I
explain
read some law
that-
for my
that
own
people-
protection.
Let's first hear from
But what I'm saying is, if we have to push this into legalities. He may win the legal battle, but
Because you're
I
not
am
an
on
expert on
the
that.
because I'm not. An,
Yes, now it is me
I
to
want
guide
us
this
to
discussion.
use this
It is me to
law
guide this discussion.
to generate the discussion, so that we don't have to keep too much into legalities and went into details. I won't
Yes.
give you
You
the
know, Deputy Spokesperson of the mighty UPDF.
yes.
It is very paramount that we, as the people of Uganda, and you people in authority, acknowledge the spellouts of this constitution.
And that's why I will get to you.
Because this is the mother law.
Now-
Where the UPDF Act, it gets its mandate from this law. And when I speak legalese, I don't see any problem. Because
no.
our security agencies, Deo Akiiki, our security agencies would not have, you wouldn't have been wearing that uniform.
Okay.
If this law had not given you that mandate.
I need
That
to
is
guide.
number
You
one.
see, I need to guide this.
Yes, we are going in. We are going in.
When these
I need
things
to
were
bring this-
coming up,
I want to tell you something. I want to tell you
him
something.
to
You should
argue
know
where he said that the
that
Ahmed
the
does
law-
not follow this.
the law says-
Give me time to bring this discussion to order. The whole question under discussion is, how does the army join up the police?
I have explained.
And according to the law here, whether we know the law or we don't, but according to what is within the law, I want to go back to what we have read. That is Article 209. The two sections Bwana Akiiki is talking about, that is to preserve and defend the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Uganda, that is A. And B, now this is where your argument comes in, to cooperate with the civilian authority. The civilian authority we are talking about now is the Uganda police. I want to believe so.
Could be even beyond Uganda police,
want-
but that is the
What-
Now,
what
and
is
your
civilian?
issue- And now your issue, if we again go back to Article 208, Article 208, where it talks about the subordination to the civilian authority. I think there is a connection here.
Definitely.
Of course.
Article 209 is talking about they can come and work with civilian authority. Who are the
Uganda
civilian
Police,
authorities?
Uganda Prison
And now,
Services.
the article you're citing, 208, it is also talking about subordination.
You know, when you
to
talk
the
about
civilian.
and you talk about civilian and you marry it with the word authority, whoever is in uniform is not a civilian.
But can I make this simple?
Whoever is in uniform is not a civilian.
Zikusooka,
Council,
let's make it
you are dodging to answer the question of the moderator. When we say we are subordinate, first of all, we are paid by who?
Ugandans.
By the civilians.
And if we don't serve according
by
to the
us, the civilians.
Let's listen to
And
one
now
another.
civilian authority. Civilian authority. What I want.
The other one is in Article 209.
What I
It
want.
was in 209.
Yes.
What
What I
is
want
the
Kano
council
to
marriage?
understand with me. What I want council to understand with me.
It's not a
Kano.
council.
Kano to understand
I
with
think
me.
very soon I will be.
Yes. What I want Kano to understand with me is that civilian authority means not people like police. And if that is their understanding of civilian authority, it is very wrong. Police is not civilian authority.
Who
Tell
can
us
give us
what
a right
is
definition of
civilian
understanding of civilian authority?
civilian authority? Here we are trying to talk about like these people, like the MPs, like the mayors, the LOC1 chairman. Those are civilians in authority who must work with these people to ensure that there is harmony, to ensure that there is security within the localities where they belong.
Civilian authority is a comprehensive term.
Exactly. This is what
It does not exclude
The UPD, the police.
people in uniform
That one I say
are
it
not
on
civilians. And this is why he's saying,
but Zikusooka,
in his very explanation, he said, when the civilians see that when police has failed, and civilians see our trucks
But
come,
we need to be very clear. Is it read as civilian authority or civil authority?
Civilian. It is civilian.
Civilian
Check those two
authority.
terms very well.
Let me read again. Article 208.
If it was civil, I wouldn't be saying anything.
Okay, let me read this again. The Uganda People's Defense Forces shall be non-partisan. That means they would never have any side politically.
Which is not seen in our country
I
so
don't
far.
know.
And we need to bring out the UPDF Act. I will show you something else.
And then
But the UPDF Act does not in any way spell anything when the mummy has said.
It is, but you see, there is why they call using the law selectively. It is you lawyers who want, who say this. I keep following very closely. You see, when you want the law to beat your advantage, it's like a preacher who goes and picks a verse. You know, I read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. So I have had sometimes I have gone to preachers and I just walk away because the preacher picks a certain verse which is
which fits the current situation.
and he doesn't know that this verse is being contradicted somewhere.
What is going to say tomorrow?
What is going to say tomorrow? So the same thing with some lawyers and especially lawyers who are politicians.
No.
When you tell me that I cannot, if I read the Constitution, I shouldn't look at the UPDF Act.
No. That is not my that is actually not my argument. I am trying to tell you that
Are we still on track?
Yes, we are still on track.
Oh, we are
and this
debating law now.
This mother constitution has already said any law inconsistent with this constitution shall be null and void.
No.
So when we are explaining the constitution, we should give time to other acts. Because if you look at the act of 2019, the Human Rights Enforcement Act, 2019, you can read section 10 of it.
Of what? Of the UPDF Act?
No. Of the enforcement, the Human Rights Enforcement Act 2019. It gives personal liability. There is a time when Kano can be personally liable.
I accept.
There is a time when Kano can deploy and after deploying, thinking is dispersing, But after that, he's going to be personally liable. So personal liability comes in. There is also personal liability in executing those mandates as we go to human rights.
Did you say section 10?
10.
Let me look for it here.
It is personal liability.
I agree. And if, for example, if I'm sent for an operation.
Personal liability for infringement of rights and freedoms.
For infringement of rights and freedoms. And this is where police...
Let me read, sir. Let me read, sir.
Before you read, this is where UPDF has not put their mind so much. You remember when President Museveni was addressing the nation, we was telling people to show police beating people and said, how can police beat people? President Museveni himself, because he believes...
You've cited the law. Can you let's read the law?
Read the law.
Yes. Section 10 of the Enforcement Act 2009 reads, personal liability for infringement of rights and freedoms. A public officer who
is not a civilian now.
Let him read.
Who individually or in association with others violates.
Did not hear who is not a civilian.
A public
officer.
Read the law.
A public officer.
Don't listen to these politicians.
Who individually or in association with others violates or participates in the violation of a person's rights of freedoms,
which we are talking, which is
shall be held personally liable for the violation, notwithstanding the state
being
vicariously liable for his or her actions.
Is there anybody who in the security or me, Deo, who refuses that this law exists?
No one.
And by the way,
my issue.
You want to let me first go into, you see, let's, if we bring out the law,
let's do a proper interpretation.
Show me that this law has been violated, and I tell you if the violator was either left free or he was taken to court.
And on top of that,
and this is where the vicarious liability. I understand that even if I'm doing the job of the state and I do something contrary to the law, I can be charged, me as Deo.
No.
No. Let Deo explain.
The entire...
Don't say no, he's explaining something.
I'm explaining, what I'm trying to bring out is what he said about the provision of this law that I can be tried as Deo. And I agree that if I go to an operation, as a command of that operation, and I make an operational mistake that will lead to violation of the rights of the honorable, I must be charged me as Deo.
Yes,
exactly.
That's true.
And because you are on uniform, the state is vicariously liable for your actions.
So it can be an individual, it can
also be if Deo is my commander and I commit a mistake, it cannot spare Deo.
Exactly.
We have had a situation. I have been served several times. Let me tell you, maybe you think...
But if you are served, cannot.
No, when I'm being served, there is Attorney General on top, there is Deo Akiiki, there is everybody who is involved, okay? The coming in of the Attorney General is because, though I did something as an individual, I'm an agent of the state.
Exactly.
I understand those basics. These are really basics, and which we perform. However, that's why I'm trying to, because if we continue into law, some of our viewers may not understand it. But we want to bring out incidences that affect the public and how we handle them, so that we come out from the skyscrapers of the law and calm down, because the law is meant to serve the people. The UPDF is established by Article 208 to serve the people. So we leave out these issues that actually look at individuals, an individual politician, or even politicians as a small subset of a bigger circle. You may not use cocoon, it brings a negative sense. So we started very well on how politicians find issues with the military. And I explained myself. And then from there we went into the issues of the law. What is our request? What is our suggestion? How can we work harmoniously?
We will get there.
You see, there is
before we even
somebody
reach
who
there-
asked me but Deo, why do you get involved in politics? Which law does not say that a soldier cannot talk politics? It's not there. The council is here. The law talks of being non-partisan, which you read. Now, you see, when we talk in the layman's language, they say everybody is a political animal, something like that. And even in the military,
A serving public servant.
is not supposed to talk about politics.
No. Engage.
Ah.
And engage and participate. Talking is engagement.
Partisan politics. Partisan politics. Because even what we are talking now is politics.
No, we are not talking politics. We are
Telling
explaining.
you
I think-
We are
explanation.
explaining
I think
the security agencies
We
vis-a-vis the law.
we are not bad from talking
law
about politics.
stroke human rights protection by
Yes.
citizens
Do
and security.
contradict
Yes.
that.
We need to understand how much can security agencies
Enforcement of law and human
enforce
rights.
the law while protecting human rights.
While protecting us from the state.
Well,
While
we need to
you
take a break.
were while you were away,
We-
Kano, while Kano was away, I was explaining to our viewers that the word security, in its own sense, it means a state of being free from danger and harm, and this is a duty given
Assigned to an
and
agency.
assigned by to agencies, which is UPDF, police, and others, CFC today and whatever.
SFC.
SFC.
And the SFC is UPDF. I
Is
don't know.
UPDF for what?
I don't
I
know
don't
why
know.
people want to separate SFC from UPDF.
Because we don't know.
No, it is UPDF. How can a lawyer not know
Because
that?
we don't. Because we don't.
Because
know.
if you talk about SFC, then I will talk about land forces
It is
in
a
Bombo.
section. It is a section.
Yes.
Those are all agencies now. Yes. Now, that brings them to be agencies, and these agencies
The
are
only
given.
agents of the Ministry of Defense is UPDF.
Well, thank you
Under
so much,
UPDF,
comrades.
we have
Thank you so much.
services and formations and units.
Thank you
And
so
that's
much,
where
gentlemen.
you-
I think we really need to go for a break. But before we break off, I need to read a few of the comments coming through. And of course, in the second hour, I will also be opening our studio lines for our viewers to call in and be part of the conversation. Mary Kasuja, security, you lost all the credibility. No Ugandan can trust you. These are the people you mandated to protect. This is how they see you. So there is. Then this one said, I doubt whether police ever invite UPDF in any demonstrations. I am sure Deo Akiiki knows that UPDF captured the police long time ago. That is why there is no police post. That's why there is no.
lawyers are here. They can take us to court. That why did you participate when
let me
police
read
will
the
not call
comments.
you? We don't come to announce that we have
That
been
is
called.
why there is no police post or station without those Bumamba Hingia Pole, Bumbera houses for UPDF. I am sure that it is UPDF that calls police to account for the evils committed by UPDF itself in such peaceful demonstrations. Secondly, even if it were true that police invite UPDF, that alone means that Ugandan police is incompetent. Imagine a situation where two blinds quarrel over the number of vehicles on the road. That is police and UPDF. Both are blind for the law and human rights. Brookwood, I'm not going to read these names. Then this one says, police no longer have authority. UPDF captured them. My man.
But
I think I need to read this one. Ronald Muhinda, he says, thank you for being part of this. Well, the UPDF Act can't pretend over the Constitution. Akiiki is lying. He again says, Deo Akiiki is seated inside the studios. The army vandalized. Imagine he still denies the army behaves criminal. We need to go for a very short break, and when we return, the Hotline Show will continue. My name is Abdallah Tiff.
You see.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Hello beautiful people, you're welcome to the Snap Talk with your girl Teddy Tenjo every Saturday right from 6 to 7.
Naku zino twajirwa flat tummy. Tukyayambalako ku ngoye obutukwata.
Wajja naku body shaming. Speak up. Gendo ba confronting. Obagambe ekyo kyemukola si kirungi.
Teweerabira nti tuli wano ku the Alternative Digitalk. Mukwano gwange gwali topic kiri wandyagadde twogereko. Is it about family?
Era tize tata wange amanyera nkola n'obuvunanyizibwa nyina bungi. Era agezaako n'anyamba yambako yanda. Naye kumukubira kumubuuzaako. Noga mama we bali kunzaala.
Is it outside family? Is it society? Oh, could it be relationships?
Come and visit, call me. Simanyanga I miss you bichi. Especially embeera y'obudde sinungi.
Naye n'omuntu akwagalira mu season yaba takwagala ze nkubuulira.
Just be commenting nga topic yonna gyandyagadde twogereko tujjako tujogera ku the Alternative Digitalk ku share enganzi the Snap Talk.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Well, welcome back from that short break, and of course the hotline show continues. In the studios, I have two deputy spokespersons. One speaks for the Uganda People's Defense Forces, and one speaks for the opposition party, which is Justice Forum.
The mighty.
The mighty?
Yes.
Okay. One speaks for the mighty UPDF, and one speaks for the mighty JEEMA.
I'm so grateful
And they are
for that name. Indeed,
they are all
we
here,
are the
and,
mighty.
we need to see.
There's no doubt about that.
There is need to see that sometimes we need to closely work together. At the end of it all, we are all Ugandans. We love our country, and we need to see that our country moves forward. Moves for, we need a better country for each of us. Whether you belong to the opposition, whether you're a public servant, whether you're in the UPDF, whether you're a member of the Uganda Police Force, whatever role, whatever duty you have as a Ugandan citizen, we all aspire to see a better country. And the onus is on you and me to make this country better for all of us. My name is Abdallah Tiff once again. Yes, before we went for the break, the debate was kind of heated. But now we need to understand this further. As the Uganda People's Defense Forces execute their mandate, what brings in those minor, other people call them the minor challenges that we normally see? For instance, when there may be riots, the law is very clear on how one should be arrested. We've seen many civilians being tried in army courts, and maybe these are the things we need to understand on this show this evening. I want to start with Bwana Ali Zikusooka.
Thank you so much, and I think at this point I need to explain why even the Constitution in chapter 4 called it protection of human rights.
Chapter 4, Article 22.
They said protection of human rights. Protection, promotion, and of fundamental and other human rights and freedoms. You know, when something to do with protection comes in, then it is something that is actually envisaged of being violated. That these rights are here, but they are going to be violated. So they should be protected.
Okay.
They should be protected. And in the event that we believe that there are certain groups that can protect us, we all agree that we should have UPDF, we should have police, we should have this, we should have this, we should have this, for purposes of protection of these rights. And now, with your question, you see, when you give examples, people understand better. From the advert that you run here in the break time, you see so many human rights being violated.
It's not an advert, it's a promo.
It's a promo? A promo, I don't know. So many human rights being violated. A man is being caught crying, you see. The Lord Mayor is crying, you see. The mighty Minister of Justice today, Honorable Mao, crying. But now, do you believe Mao can cry at this time? You think Mao can cry the way he's crying in your promo now?
Kind of lead us to this whole conversation. How do we harmonize? Where is the challenge coming? Where is it wrong interpretation of the laws in place? What is the problem?
I was very happy when we said mighty UPDF and Kano said indeed we are might. I was very happy when he said indeed we are might. Because they are might by the way they handle issues. They will bring sticks, and you have seen sticks.
Might by the way we defend
They are might by the way they bring sticks.
That has nothing to do with might. If you want to know the real might, go to Somalia, go to wherever we have been.
But
or let him hit the street tomorrow.
No. Yes. You know me. I'm speaking in the Ugandan context. I don't want to go cross border. Yes, I don't want to. I don't want to go cross. I don't want to go cross border. I want to stay. I want to stay. I believe the Digitalk. I believe the Digitalk has police, has army with the sticks, chasing and beating civilians who have already even risen their hands up to say that.
The producer is going to try.
I think you can. I think if he has, he can. And then the deputy spokesperson, I want the deputy spokesperson to reflect on the presidential
promo. It's a promo
on the presidential speech or address, where the president was coming to address security issues.
Bana Zikusooka, I don't know.
And if you bring
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
as he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Digitalk. real issues, real talk.
Welcome back, and we do apologize for the technical errors that we underwent, and I want to also thank the team in the control room, our technical crew, for doing their best to restore everything. And we are now back on air, and the discussion continues. Before we went for that break, we were trying to understand the operations of the UPDF. We've seen many civilians being tried in the court martial. We've seen many violations happening, violations of human rights, where you would think that maybe the Uganda police, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, and other security agencies really understand the law, especially on how they should conduct themselves. And of course, I need to invite the Deputy Spokesperson of the UPDF, Colonel Deo Akiiki, to shed more light on the circumstances that lead to some civilians being tried in the court martial. Recently, you all remember Mobiru James, a councillor from Rubaga, I think, North. Had issues of the beret and all that, and he was tried in the court martial. And maybe we need to really understand this. What leads to someone, a civilian, being tried in the court martial?
Just maybe to get back into the issue of human rights before we go to the court martial, the Uganda People's Defense Forces is having a whole directorate of human rights, and a very learned friend of his colleague is called Colonel Deo Akiiki. He's the one who is a lawyer, human rights lawyer, who heads our human rights desk, which shows how much we value issues of human rights. And secondly, the person you're talking to, I hold a master's degree in human rights. And I did this human rights degree when I was already a soldier, working in northern Uganda that time, fighting LRA. And I witnessed a situation where our children and women were suffering immensely. And I was working with the Human Rights and International UN Human Rights Organization, and I was encouraged to do human rights. And my specialty is on women and children, the rights of women and children.
Okay.
But all of this shows how we value human rights, and we try as much as possible to make sure that the rights of Ugandans are not violated. And when they are violated, the perpetrators of those crimes are brought to book. There are several examples. You've heard of the Kembo incidents. And for us, if you commit a crime against Mwananchi,
civilian,
our punishments are not 30 days and then tomorrow you are out. No. Wakembo was in prison for 81 months, 81 years. 81, 83 years, if I may remember very well.
Is that how the
you
law
will be in prison for the rest of your life?
Is that how the law is, or it's your own creation?
That is infringement already on him.
It is not. It's not. This is court martial, and he had representatives. His legal team.
You know when
the due process of the law was there.
Just give them some time.
And for us, if you commit a crime against Wananchi, and your punishment is beyond 2 years, you automatically
expelled from the army.
Yes, from the army. You're definitely out of the army.
Okay.
So this is serious how we are. If I go back to the NRA times, it was worse, because for them it was firing squad, which is no longer practiced these days. But this shows you the foundation of how we respect human rights up to today. Now, on the issues of civilians being tried in the court martial, there are provisions. We have within the UPDF Act provisions which allows us to try a civilian who makes himself or appears to be a soldier. You recruit yourself voluntarily and make yourself a soldier. How? If I find you committing a crime and you are in this uniform, Then on arresting you, you say, actually that uniform is for my brother Deo Akiiki, and it is not my uniform, but you committed a crime in our uniform. Therefore, you have voluntarily made yourself a UPDF soldier, and we shall try you. For those who possess weapons, like which are a preserve
of the
force, we shall take you to court martial and charge you, like try you like we try our soldiers. And this is no discussion. The lawyer is here, knows about
You've had issues with
and this
that is a
how,
constitutional right, because under Schedule 7, there are certain things that government is reserved to have.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's how people should not be. I have had my friends from, again, the political circles trying, to meander around, even when they actually know the law. Because we have lawyers who come to defend these people. The court martial is always open to the civil lawyers, the lawyers, the public, and the lawyers come and stand in for these people. And it is very clear, but you will see them struggling to turn things around. Why our people are taken to the court martial? But this is a provision of the law.
We've seen you with these people, especially from the NUP, those with red berets.
Now, there was a time when our dress code was gazetted. And it was gazetted for a reason. Because everybody had come out putting on the way he likes. There were these Madoadoa uniforms, clothes, not even uniforms, from Owino. Somebody brings it.
I have one shirt.
You have one?
Very soon, council will have problems. Until we had even to go deep to discourage the importation of these Madoadoa. Because actually the law says, if I may use Uganda for everyone to understand, ekyambalo kyaffe kati kansa ayinza okugenda brings a dress from Owino which is like looking like ours, puts it on, because if it is at night you are driving and the council is putting on that shirt or trouser and is having a gun which is illegal and stands on there, they say yes. So we wanted to remove that. And when this issue of berets came in, it became controversial. Why? We all know very well that our military police puts on
the
red tops.
With a badge.
With a badge, yes. And I can assure you, when it is dark, if there is some light, you will see red, but you will not see which badge. Remember, with all those things. And we have cases. We have cases where people would use berets, not even a badge, nothing. And at night they harass our people and they steal the people and And let me tell you.
No, just slowly before you get to the second reason. Did that become so popular after the coming into play of the National Unity Platform with the Red Beret? Because that is the time when
you tell you, certain, even before that, there were people who were using berets. Actually, some used to use black berets like mine. Now, it became worse when a certain political organization chose to use them
as their dressing
for that.
code.
And within that political organization, there were some groups who took advantage, probably, I don't have winner, who took advantage of that. We had groups, the Kikankane group, I don't know the what, I don't know, there was a certain
group in
a certain name. These are the groups whom our security agencies, our intelligence agencies, got in training in military tactics in some cases. And those are some of those who you saw being produced in Makindi in the court martial.
Where does that leave the scouts? Because the scouts have berets.
The scouts dressing is very clear. It's very clear, and they are within the rims of the law. What they do. Yes. So it's very, very, very clear. We shouldn't really confuse them. So, but all of this, I'm trying to show you that we cannot take you to court martial when you don't have that leaning. It's only that until, you see there is this provision when they say, they call it, like when a case is going on, you are not supposed to comment on it in order not to prejudice.
Subjudice.
Subjudice, yes. that principle of sub judice. So because when people are being taken to court martial, they are already in the process of the law. You can't keep explaining things until the due process has taken and until the final judgment has been done and the judgment is read. That's when people will come to know a lot of details. Then somebody begins to say, you know, this was what was happening. So this one somehow keeps, you know, tilting the political argument. And with our politicians, with the two notions I told you, populism, somebody trying, you know, to take advantage of the situation, they begin taking that narrative. Before I leave, there is, for example, a narrative. This we have not talked about, but I don't want to go without talking about it. About arrests. This is where we talked about it and we jumped very quickly. In this country, are you aware that there is no word arresting anymore? Have you ever heard it to any politician saying that so and so has been arrested? There is abduction.
And kidnapping.
And kidnapping. There is abduction, there is kidnapping. Where did arrest go in this country?
It's you to tell us, maybe.
Who is supposed to arrest?
The
How and when?
Security agencies are playing it smarter this time round. They are bringing in drones. What?
Now, I think there is something I will share at one time. Actually, somebody asked. I saw it on social media, and the question was, "You mean even FBI abduct?" Because the video, yes, the video was actually showing not very far from the current drones you hear and so what. So arresting depends on the circumstances and the person, the kind of person is being arrested. And then two, how did all of this come about? Since 2011 attack on the US by terrorists, yes, there is a new, there are a lot of regime of security measures
changed.
That changed the entire world, the entire security spectrum, rightly so. Because if I'm coming to arrest you, and you are an Al-Shabaab with probably a vest of explosion on you, I'm not going to come and pull an arrest warrant, sir, Al-Shabaab, I want to arrest you. So that one changed the whole scape.
You do not need
and
to
understand whom you are
arresting.
And it gave advantage to security agencies to do as they think fit.
Very good.
Let me ask you.
We are the security experts. It's not you,
it's
not the politicians. We are the security experts. If we see a security situation, it is us to handle that security situation the way we should. If it is right that a drone will do better, we shall come with a drone.
Let me ask you, Deo.
And the law does not stop us.
Let me ask you this. In June this year, this place was raided. We are less than 20 people in this place. We had over 50 soldiers there. Those putting on red berets, those in green berets, those in black berets, those in traffic.
What was the level of threat?
It is you to tell us then. Because if
so you didn't know the level of threat. you only knew you were 20.
We are less than 20.
That's all you knew at your level.
And
but the security could have known. By the way,
and this is a camouflage.
Is that overrating?
Where security will say,
is that overrating?
We have detected 100 even when you see you are 2.
When you are seeing 2. What, for example, they can be 2. But
imagine look at that lady in front of you.
Let me tell you.
In front of you.
You may be 2.
What resistance
but the level of damage you can do. You think how many people drove the planes into the building in the USA? Were they the whole world? No, these were a few pilots. But the whole world almost came with its knees. 2 is when we detect a threat, it's not you to tell us whether we have come with a lot of force or less. It is us who know. It's not you. So yours is to comply. And you see there is a very bad habit that cropped up during campaign. I wish I was in parliament. I would really advocate for this issue of several years.
I think we have someone on the line. We have a call on the line. Yes, caller, hello. Someone on the line. Your name and where you're calling from. Well, I think we've lost that person.
My name is Shave. Good evening.
Oh, good evening. How are you, sir?
So
Your name and where you're calling?
Deo Akiiki. There are a few concerns I want to put across. I'm Shave from Lianton. I wish I could give you a good message, but for purposes of the whole world to also hear our communication, a quick one. TPF become wrong. Because every now and again we hear Mr. Deo Akiiki and others, they will forever say UPDF, they are like angels in green uniform, angels from heaven. But we saw those people shooting at civilians. And so many occasions. Is there a moment where Akiiki and his team sit home as they share tea with their children at the dining table and say, today we will behave as the devil? Secondly, I wish to also ask Akiiki to tell the world. They say as per the constitution it is UPDF, but their army numbers begin with the RA plus. What is that logic that these guys maintained the army number of resistance army and avoided calling themselves UPDF number this and the other? Finally, I'm sure Mr. Akiiki knows that there is a lot of inconsistencies with how the General Court Martial operates. They get nanny lawyers, so as long as they are so far told, they become chairpersons of the General Court Martial. Look at General Guti, not even a certificate in administrative law, but he was there presiding over a court that tries people, and yet UPDF has a lawyer. May God bless all of you.
The first question was...
Can you, before even you clarify on the two, which I don't get, on the who is to be the chairman of the court-martial, there is nowhere where it is written that that chairperson of the court-martial should be a lawyer. No. Anybody appointed can be the chairman of the court-martial, and the chairman of the court-martial has nothing to do with interpreting the law, and so he has the prosecutor.
Or without legal background, as long as
he can even be appointed a chairman of the court-martial, and that's what our description of our law is. But now
you judge basing on the amicus curiae that come to you.
No, not necessarily. That court is full of lawyers, from the defense counsel, from the prosecutor, from the special investigations guys, and so on. Those lawyers, the technical persons are there, the lawyer, and they are the ones who hand actually the. If you see, the chairman there comes actually to perform, like I would say,
ceremonial.
So I would believe that the chairman of the court martial is an assessor.
You may choose to use that, but there is no law that provides that he should be a chairman, should be a lawyer. No.
Okay.
Because if you see, he comes and just reads what
he's an assessor,
the legal team has prepared. Yes.
Okay.
So it is put like that because our institution is unique. It is an institution that follows certain hierarchy of seniority and so on and so forth. And therefore, that's why you will find the chairman of the court-martial is always the most senior.
Okay.
Okay? I may not go into details, but there is no law that...
that is exactly my problem. Seniority in the law.
No, they are lawyers.
Seniority in army is one of the problems that we are facing.
It can't be a problem.
Because they act on orders, even when they are wrong orders and the senior has said.
Actually, we have a law that you can be tried if you implement
wrong
order.
How do you tell your senior that?
So it's not right. Good on written.
Orders that are
from
given
above.
that are lawful orders.
The idea is
that is a political language. No.
Well, let's go back to the questions.
The two questions.
Actually, one thing, the one he mentioned last, I had also captured it here.
Yes.
On the numbers, we have those with RO plus.
Yes.
And then the U plus.
No. We have, in the army, we have RO. We have RA, we have ROV.
Oh, yes.
So RA is still a serving soldier, but who is not an officer, who is not a commissioned officer.
That is RA.
That is RA. Okay. It came from the resistance army and so on. There is RO. There is a resistance officer. This is a commissioned officer. Then there is ROV. This is a resistance officer who has retired, veteran. So you will find also a RAF, a resistance army, a soldier, militant, who has retired, who is a veteran. Actually, V represents veteran.
What is your number, Deo?
Why do you want?
Okay, just give us the first two.
Why?
No, where do you fall?
I fall on RO because I'm the commissioned officer.
It's RO.
Okay, okay. I think
from the question, explanation, it must be RO.
Yes, the question this caller wanted to get clarification on.
Yes.
You see, this was more of a preserve of the resistance army.
And by the way, we are still a resistance army.
So what is this whole thing?
We are still resisting any forms of things that were being resisted at that time, but we don't want them to remove it that now they are no longer happening. Suppose somebody comes...
You see the military wing of
we still
NRM.
refuse what used to happen. By the way, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something without fear of contradiction.
President Museveni has said it.
This is his army.
This is his army.
No.
And he has actually...
Because when you say that...
No. Let me explain because I'm a subject matter expert.
Please do, please do.
UPDF was initially NRA. NRA was a military wing of NRM. And that's the reason why it changed to UPDF after the 1995 constitution, okay?
It didn't change, they just named it.
No, it changed.
The constitution gave
but
it
now isn't NRA naming? Isn't NRA naming?
You know, when you say it changed,
yes,
you would have gone out with all these other...
No, it changed because not only did it change from UPDF, NRA to UPDF, in the defense review of 2002 and 2005 changes, the UPDF metamorphosed into a professional force, which is ongoing up to date. Because if you met NRA that time, it can't be the UPDF of today. That's when you are going. So you can't say we only changed the name. Then too, you cannot say that
actually require a change of subject matter.
you see, once we bring in politics, the whole thing gets spoiled.
No, my concern here, Deo, is...
You see, when the council is saying that...
The moment you still maintain
and
this
by the way,
which stands for resistance, a military...
There is a reason why resistance can't be removed.
The two cannot be detached.
The day you remove resistance, we shall forget our historical focus. Actually, historical. Actually, listen. It will remove from us from our historical
heritage.
Exactly, historical heritage, and also our what I would call our focus is to resist anything that was there in the past. We resisted and we managed to fight it, but we still resist anybody who brings it back. Who
fights this establishment?
Exactly.
Of the NRM.
Why are you saying NRM?
Because these are related. These are systems.
Why are you removing? And let me give you another assurance.
This is the cough. This is the flu.
Are we NRA or we are UPDF?
I have given you the medicine. Change of name is not necessarily change of subject matter.
Well,
and this is why Canada is saying, by the way, we are still resistant.
Because when you say...
By the way, we have a certain ideology we follow. And you pray that, and that's why people go to Chiangwanzi, to make sure they understand the ideological focus of the leaders of this country, of the leaders of the army, and of the leaders of politicians who fermented and created and babysat what this country is seeing today. The other fundamental change which was said by the president during NRA, there were certain areas. There were certain areas he was focusing on. They were focusing on that Ugandans in the 1995 constitution put a stamp And they have enabled Uganda to reach where we have reached.
Well, I need to bring in this man, but my only concern here is
the second question was what?
There is no.
There was because so that we don't miss out.
No, the one was the other. Oh, and then the one. Okay, the first question actually was the way the excessive force you use. Maybe when you're trying to.
Now, very good. There is no excessive force unless there is somebody who is measuring this excessive force vis-a-vis the counter force. You understand that English? What I'm meaning is, if I'm meeting...
Let's use this place as an example.
Yes, I'm okay. There is this table. And my colleague deputy there of JEEMA is pushing this table. Council Zikusooka. Not Digitalk. Digitalk is Musoga.
Yes, Z.
Council Zikusooka is pushing from the other side, I'm pushing from this side. The energy I'm going to put should be equal or actually much more than the force is using for me in order to be the winner. If I come on the streets of Kampala and I meet people with the pangas, with Butida, do you know Butida? And I find some 3-4 people with AK-47. How much force do you think I should use if I came and found people only having play cards without anything to hurt anybody? Should it be the same force?
But according to what
so the force being excessive or not is subjective.
It's case by case.
Exactly, it is case by case. During the riots, the Kayunga, after that incident,
the denial of Kawaka to go to Kayunga.
No. That was another one. The one where one of the presidential candidates was involved and it was case 18th of November.
That was in Ruuka.
Was it in Ruuka?
It was in Ruuka, yes.
Yes. And but it spread everywhere. It spread everywhere, and we have some characters who moved in with all types of weapons, including guns. You see sometimes, and that's why you see up to now, some of those are still in court. They are still undergoing the due process of the law. Now, when the council knows, when issues of evidence comes up and you begin seeing very funny things, you begin seeing guns, you begin seeing what? That's when you will sit back and say, oh, I think these people are going beyond. Now, the force which was needed to be used at that time couldn't be the same when there was walk to work. Okay,
Kanudeo, I want to bring in this man, but
so
I have a lot of questions for you.
I doubt. And two, if somebody can prove that there was excessive force in a certain operation, you know very well. They will go through.
Of course, court has.
Court will
help us understand.
How they will rule that this was excessive.
I want to drag you slightly backwards. In 2018, if you remember what happened in Arua, these allegations, of course, there were deaths there, but there is this whole talk that Chagulanyi had guns, and other people were like, you planted the guns there, and then along the way the case was withdrawn.
I don't think that case is disposed of yet.
It was.
Are you sure?
Yes, it was actually withdrawn.
I will prove.
The state withdrawn.
Then we shall discuss that matter another time. I don't want to be...
The idea is...
I don't want to...
The idea is, if state wants you, state can do anything.
They can put their own evidence?
No. State can plant anything and can take
but there is the
and
judiciary.
There is evidence to actually make sure that you are a culprit.
There is judiciary to do its job. If it
now, judiciary cannot agree with me. Judiciary will not be in my house when a security operative is planting something there and I'm being arrested. Security will, the court will only look at evidence being taken out of my home.
In this country, it is only the judiciary
that can
where I have seen even people in opposition celebrate and jubilate that they have won the government. It has happened not once, not twice. But when they lose? So let us continue to really, actually, I personally, as Deo, leave alone being a spokesperson, it's one thing I cherish in this country, that at least we have had a situation where people against the government take government to court and win cases, and they jubilate. Well, the only challenge we have is, If you think you have one government, why don't you allow to be one?
Thank you so much.
So once it is the other side, no.
The government is bad. Well, Bwana Zikusooka, we are really running out of time. I don't know whether my producer will add us some more minutes. I don't know. But now, how best can we restore this relationship in that you can maybe hit the street if whether you're protesting against commodity prices, maybe you're expressing dissatisfaction on the whole issue of governance.
What is your measure when you say we are not in a state of anarchy?
No, but we've seen.
We are not in a state of anarchy. Those are incidents that come out because of political heated
let me ask you this.
We shouldn't really say the country is not.
Let me ask you this. Of late, we have seen General Muhoozi making political statements. If not Muhoozi and if that person was you, would you still be the devil?
Where did you see him making political statements?
Yes, it's everywhere. Even
on his Twitter. Don't say, my friend, these are lawyers. We have lawyers in this country. I have not had any lawyer or any agitated Ugandans who has come out that this man has made. By the way, remember I told you we are not bad from talking on politics.
On his birthday.
Now,
on his birthday.
But I want somebody to come out and challenge him in courts of law. We are not going to be courts of law here. You pick your evidence, go to courts of law and say this man has made a partisan statement.
No. Before we even go to court, we've seen people. There is a time there are people you've winch hunted here for just making very slight statements. Remember the Zikusooka issue?
He went to court.
There
was a court.
No, just listen.
There was a court process.
Listen to me, Deo.
Court process.
Listen to me, Deo. Zikusooka made some statements here. Actually, he wrote a letter. Do you know how many media houses?
By the way,
later. Now we have seen this gentleman, General Muhoozi, on his birthday parties, taking them across the country, making these political statements. Going on his Twitter handles.
Bring one partisan. You see the problem?
Going on his Twitter handles. Even recently he said,
how sure are you that is his Twitter handle?
Let me tell you. Let me give him the example he's trying to ask for.
He said the best gift he can give to his mother is him becoming the president.
So, where does that break the law?
No, I am asking. Can you make?
No, I don't want to be him. Who told you me I want my mother to be a president to amuse my mother? I'm not him. If for him is him, I am.
I'm giving.
So why do you want me to say?
I'm giving Deo a statement made by the first son on uniform in the birthday, and he said, we are going to invest
in sports,
in entertainment and
sports.
We are going to invest in sports. We are going as a serving military person. Which mandate? What is the capacity? How do you invest?
By the way, let me tell you, we have a whole chieftaincy of sports and culture.
Now that is
that is within the parameters of UPDF and not promising public.
Suppose he promised to invest in sports and culture
as who?
Through the UPDF. As a general. By the way,
that was the generals of recent. Those statements were made.
My friend, general is a general. General is a general. Whether it's of recent or of yesterday, general remains a general. And in some
countries, whether it breaks the law, it remains a general.
And by the way, let me tell you, generals are political leaders. If you don't know, a general, you see, it's because we are still a growing army. If I'm a division commander and I'm a general,
you're a politician.
I'm supposed to somehow superintend over the political situations of my area of responsibility. I must know the political trends in the area of responsibility and inform my command-in-chief or my next commander the political situation of the area.
What would be the role
so
of
this
your
listen.
What would be the role of your SCCs?
This is now military, political. You see, the problem is when we look at politics, we separate it from security. And this is where we go wrong. If you want somebody, do you remember in the past that the army was confined to stay in the barracks until the situation go wrong in parliament and the country, the president is overthrown? That's when you come in for the army. And what happened? And by the way, that brings you the statement
my
of
last
when
question
people
to you,
always
Deo.
say, why are we in parliament?
My last question to you
but
is
there is something you are leaving I have not answered. Another thing the public should know, General Kainerugaba is a special, is an advisor of the president on special operations. Has anybody out there tried to get to know what special operations mean? The public makes some mistakes and they think he's an advisor on how SFC operates. No.
The problem
no,
is...
just so there are several special operations the president can delegate an advisor.
To come and speak, to tell the public?
As long as he considers it special. He can come and say it.
Over to you.
When you come to issues of interpretation,
we need to learn.
You know, I have liked
what the general means.
I've liked Kanodeo on
We have run out of time.
I've liked Kanodeo on this show. When it comes to the issue of interpreting the law, he would tell you, the lawyers is an interpreter. When it comes to issues of interpreting security, then we should not interpret. The expert should interpret.
I am the
yes, now the expert
the law.
Expert now should interpret security. But now special operations, and we should not, the way we interpret the law is identical to the way they interpret.
We are waiting for a situation
identical to the way they interpret security things, giving them the right to do whatever things they want. If it is a violation of human rights, they will say
he's a general.
They can say he's a general, and they can still say no. It is us to assess. It is not you to tell us how many people we should bring you. It is us to assess, and only the examples is going to give you is when the public has guns. When the public has guns. Now, what if the public does not have guns, it does not have sticks, and you bring in sticks and beat the public? Is it equal?
Sticks, by the way, let me
Is it reasonable force?
When we come to military police, across the world, they will use sticks. These sticks are called batons.
No, these ones are not batons
now,
we see you use. Can you play the prom?
No.
Can you play the prom for us?
Those you will see with sticks.
And Connie from Akole.
You see, we have different cultures. If you go to Karamoja, carrying a gun is not a big issue. Now, if you wanted these people to carry guns, to actually wield the guns more than sticks, you wait and see what will happen. I feel very much safer than caning me with a stick if I have refused to do something I'm supposed to do.
But you are infringing on my rights as a human.
Than forcing you.
Holding that stick is already an infringement.
This direct interface from one and we are losing the whole focus now. Bwana Deo, I want to understand this. When do you feel that the operations and the acts of the opposition, they are anti-government, and you come
I'm not going to discuss that.
You're not going to discuss that?
No, it's not within my mandate of being here as a spokesperson of the army.
Not as a spokesperson of the army.
No.
Not as a spokesperson.
You're not going to pull me to begin pointing fingers at political parties of, of different areas. Unless your question is
not as a political, not as a spokesperson of the UPDF.
His question is pushing me into...
My inquiry is not as a spokesperson of the UPDF.
But I'm here in that capacity.
But as a person and a professional human rights activist, or a person that has studied human rights, do you find UPDF and police and security agencies infringing on human rights in circumstances?
No. And an emphatic no.
Now,
I only find individuals within these institutions infringing on rights, and when they do, the law takes its course.
Have you ever been infiltrated?
So that's why I was saying I cannot put acts of a single Deo onto the institution of UPDF, which has 50,000 plus soldiers.
Now,
and of the 50,000, this is 0.0000 plus, and then I smear the entire institution.
Now, we've seen cases.
So smearing the entire institution is going...
Human rights reports showing how many people whose rights have been violated, including the journalists. You will agree with me?
Including soldiers and police, because there is when you also actually infringe on our rights. Have
Using
you ever
our
heard
cameras.
that?
Yes.
Using our cameras.
Have you ever heard that?
Yes.
When I'm
Can I
saying
tell
you, I'm
yes.
meaning the civilians.
Yes.
Infringing.
Now, I want to give you this.
By throwing stones.
But by the way, do you know
years.
that a camera can infringe on the security's rights?
Yes.
You know
and
aware.
do you also know that
if you come and bring your camera to cover installations of the army without authority, you would have crossed the line. So it is also possible.
We can never take those cameras unless we are invited. But now, we've had reports, for instance, HRMJ, Human Rights Network for Journalists Uganda. I've seen you there.
I have been I'm a member even on the group.
Very good. And many reports, they have UPDF.
But when you talk of many, you see many is too
time and
general.
again, by the way,
just and that word is there written.
Yes.
And you know, I wonder why the Uganda Human Rights Commission
which I'm aware
is silent.
And by the way, I can tell you,
the Uganda Human Rights Commission,
we have compensated because some members of our security have violated their rights.
The whole issue is not compensation. You see,
no, you see, we are not from Mars. You see,
I have another question before you go there.
Don't expect that
Kano.
We are going to be like angels.
Kano.
By the way, we are born by the way you are born. I have my mother in Kienjoja and my father. He was a civilian first. If I came with indiscipline there, a training of 1 year is not going to make me an angel.
However,
so there are some people, a few what they call bad apples. Which actually you may find they are much more in the civilian world than we have in the security. What is important is if a soldier, if a police officer has violated the rights of a mwananchi, a civilian, what has the institution done? If anybody comes out and says, you see, Deo violated the rights of this and nothing has happened to him. I stand to be challenged.
My concern here,
because it's part of society, it's part of how
someone is on the line. Caller, hello. Someone on the line, hello.
Yes, hello. Yeah, good evening, Chief, and the guests in the studio.
Good evening. How are you? Your name and
yes, I really want to ask. Isn't there good things that the UPDF has done that you people are not crediting? Because we really want to assure that the UPDF has done. But basing on your discussion, you are painting a picture that the UPDF hasn't done anything at all. I really hope this show hasn't been balanced. Even the host has become a guest. I really feel really for Deo Akiiki. Thank you for the show.
Is there anything the UPDF has done?
Ugandans are there.
Yes,
listening.
the UPDF has constructed hospitals. They've constructed roads.
They have defended this country against 29 rebel groups.
They have also constructed the Arena Mall.
And
that is a very good thing.
Not only Arena Mall. What is Arena Mall they were talking about?
Arena Mall.
When it comes to construction,
it is the UPDF has
when it comes to construction,
they also managed the COVID stuff and.
They are actually, Madam, whoever asked the question, I did not hear the name. First of all, I'm very humbled and I appreciate that the good people who know the good things we have done are out there. And they are watching. Don't think
we want to appreciate.
They make just
no.
Then two is
not answer that one.
When it comes to the good things, you see they say that when the dog bites a man,
let us say the good things before they says them, because we are the civilians. We want to appreciate. Yes, we want to appreciate that the UPDF has done its part in protecting the territorial boundaries of this country. And that is their mandate. And we applaud that. We have not seen people entering our country with arms to fight Uganda or to overtake our territory. We very much appreciate Deo. We appreciate the UPDF for that.
Thank you.
But still, our discussion today is on human rights.
And the enforcement.
And the enforcement of human rights. And this is where we go. The UPDF has protected this country. Okay?
No question on that.
It has protected this country from external infringement, but internal
By the
human
way,
rights.
do you know, Council, there was a time when there was no any human rights body in this country? You know,
that was my question coming.
Not even
I wanted to ask this question.
I
wanted to ask
you. Run out of time. I am giving each of you 30 seconds. They will give me 30 seconds. I'm giving you 30 seconds to give me your closing shot.
I was saying that even if a private passed here, you would close these studios, which cannot happen today.
But
you can even push Deo from the taxi or from anywhere, or even slap me, and nothing.
No, nobody can slap you when you're on this attire.
Thank you very much, the moderator and the management of Digitalk. I'm glad that the first time I had my show moving, now I'm here in the van. Now I'm here in the studios, and I'm sure many more bigger things are coming. And kudos to the viewers. Going digital is, I think,
the way to go.
The way to go.
Sure.
It's the way to go. And we all can't have, at one time we shall have no space for TVs.
Sure.
But we can have our phones and follow up. And I encourage the viewers to continue viewing Digitalk for very many other things. Security, development, and many more other things. As a security, we are there for you. As UPDF, we shall ensure that this country is protected. There are people and everything we value in this country. And it is our mandate where we have not gone wrong. However, we have gone ahead to be implementing the issue of Pan-Africanism, the issue of integration, where we look ourselves not as Ugandans, but we look ourselves as East Africans, we look ourselves as Africans. That's why we are in Somalia, that's why we're in Congo, that's why we were in Liberia, that's why we are out there in the world that you don't know, that you'll come to know at some point. But all of this is done in the spirit of Pan-Africanism. And the public out there, play your role, keep yourself safe as we struggle to make sure that the rest of the country is safe.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bwana Spokesperson from JEEMA, you have 30 seconds. Give me your closing part, your parting shot.
I would like to thank Deo, and thank you so much for coming. And we want to assure you that the public is keenly following whatever issues that you say. You know, when you speak out sweet and you act in the sour way, it is very difficult for the public to understand you very well. Because whichever way we go, when we speak and we show the audience, we show our spectators, we are so much into you. And the actions are spelling out other things or spell otherwise, then it is very difficult for us. But I would like to thank you, and I would also like to thank the discipline that you have impacted in the army. Not all of them are bad, but we want you to actually go to the roots of entertaining only the good charactered people. Because this constitution here, you say, it tells you, once you are on uniform, the oath of you.
You had 30 seconds, sir.
Yes, the oath of you is to act in the interest of this country. We want you to act non-partisan. We want you to act professional. We want you to be that we think you are. Not like one of your soldiers, one of the army men that I saw saying, we cannot, as the army, surrender power to Bobby Wine. We can't. That one I saw. On the officer, I don't remember that. The name
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
But he said, we cannot surrender. Why can't you surrender? Because this is a Ugandan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bwana Zikusooka. I want to thank all of you.
And one time I'm going to stand for
President?
Yes.
Okay.
As soon as you pass, we shall salute you.
It's your constitutional right.
Well, I want to see Deo defending the country when I'm the president.
Absolutely.
He will.
Why not?
Well, thank you so much. I want to thank all of you really for creating time to be part of this conversation. Out of your busy schedules, you managed to make it. I really thank you. Thank you, Bwana Deo Akiiki, for creating time to be part of tonight's discussion. Bwana Ahmed Zikusooka, you were appointed yesterday. I think this is your first talk show as the deputy spokesperson of the party. So we really thank you. And the team I have worked with, all our viewers, those who have been able to call, and those who also made attempts and your calls never went through. We thank you for being part of tonight's discussion. My name is Abdallah Tiff. Until next Monday, good night.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.